Welcome back, players. I'm your host, Pepegnello, and in today's video, we are gonna take a look at the top 5 cards from the latest expansion, Murder at Karlov Manor. Let's start this off with number 5, Demand Answer. 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 red, instant. It reads, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. Draw 2 cards. This is effectively a better version of Thrill of Possibility. We're gonna take a look at some commanders that will benefit the most from this red instant. Of course, Toggo pairing will love this card. Having the ability to sacrifice a rock and convert it to card draw is amazing. Also, Eiko Yamazaki will be able to sacrifice one of his artifact piece and buy back it immediately through his triggered ability. At number 4, we have Wisp Drinker Vampire, a 4 mana, 2 generic Orzhov for a 2/4 vampire rogue with flying. It reads, whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. It also has an activate ability for 7 mana, 5 generic Orzhov. Creatures you control with power 2 or less gain Death Touch and Lifelink until the end of the turn. Immediately, with the first line of text, it reminds us Elas Il-Core. Of course, Elas is a 2 mana legendary creature. It has a death touch instead of flying, and it has also no restriction about the power of the creatures that enter the battlefield under our control. If you are playing 1 versus 1, I think that Elas has a slight advantage over this new vampire. Also, the second activated ability is much more interesting than I initially thought. In particular, with a card like Kumbay Witches or Crypt Rats, having the chance to kill for sure creatures and gain life is nothing to underestimate. At number 3, we have Snarling Gorehound, a 1 black mana, 1/1 dog with menace. It also has whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, surveil 1. Surveil basically means to look at the top card of your library and decide to put it back on top or into the graveyard. So of course this card will be amazing in graveyard-centric deck such as Tormod, Araumi, Shirei, but it also works as card selection for decks that can create multiple creatures in a turn, such as Talis. So we are playing Talis, maybe we are able to create 4 or 5 tokens at the end of the turn. Talis will create 5 spirits, and we are gonna surveil 5, making sure to arrange the top part of our deck in the perfect way possible. At number 2, we have Pick Your Poison, a 1 green mana sorcery with 3 different modalities. Each opponent may sacrifice an artifact, an enchantment, or a creature with flying. This type of versatility is great and makes this card basically an auto-include in every green deck. I wouldn't have ranked this card so high in the list if this was released 3 or 4 years ago, simply because we didn't have as many self-protected commander as well as enchantment on the field. But now, at this state of the format, backgrounds are 2 manas and are often the only enchantment that a player have on the field, so making sure even just to destroy 2 of them with one single green mana is a lot of value. At number 1, we have Crime Novelist. A 3 mana, 2 generic, a red mana for a 1/3 Goblin Bard. It reads, whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on Crime Novelist and add a red mana. I'm sure everyone, as soon as this card was spoiled, thought about treasures. It effectively doubled the mana that a treasure can produce. This way, cards like Big Score, I will read it real quick, it's a 4 mana instant that let you discard a card as an additional cost. Then you can draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures. So effectively, once you sacrifice those treasures, your spell is basically free. This is a perfect recipe for a storm deck. So you are gonna play all these cards that create treasure, making sure to cycle through your deck, casting even more spell cantrips, and ideally killing someone with Creep Shot. If the plane A fails, we need to recognize that this goblin will grow bigger and bigger and bigger for each artifact we're gonna sacrifice. So it's not out of this world thinking that go for a Voltron sub-team and to finish up an opponent with some style points, we can also just fling it to their face. Hope you guys liked this short video. Let us know in the comment what are your favorite cards from this set. Honestly, I was kind underwhelmed about the uncommon creatures. The common cards are incredibly good, and it was really tough to cut down to 5. That's all for us. See you.